Lawrence Kohlberg theorized that morality moved through three stages as it developed throughout a person's life. Each stage was broken down into two parts. He based this model after Jean Piaget's theory of moral development, but elaborated on it further. In his view, moral development was intimately linked to cognitive development. In a person's intellectual development, as it increased, the reasoning behind morality grew considerably and correspondingly in complexity. He reasoned that people moved through stages in a finite order. To him, the reasoning behind a moral decision was more important than the actual decision itself, how they chose to resolve a moral dilemma. Piaget used stories, and Kohlberg does the same. Usually these stories come down to the right of some established authority in conflict with the needs of a single individual. One of his famous stories was from 1958 of a man named Heinz. Heinz's wife was dying from a particular type of cancer. Doctors said a new drug might save her. The drug had been discovered by a local chemist, and that Heinz tried desperately to buy some, but the chemist was charging 10 times the money it cost to make the drug, and this was much more than Heinz could afford. Heinz could only raise half the money, even after help from family and friends. He explained to the chemist that his wife was dying and asked if he could have the drug cheaper or pay the rest of the money later. The chemist refused, saying that he had discovered the drug and was going to make money from it. The husband was desperate to save his wife, so later that night, he broke into the chemist's home and stole the drug. Should Heinz have broken into the laboratory to steal the drug for his wife? Why or why not? In order to determine this, he asked a series of questions. Should Heinz have stolen the drug? Would it have changed anything if Heinz did not love his wife? What if the person dying was a stranger? Would it make any difference? Should the police arrest the chemist for murder if the woman dies? Now, obviously, the correct answer is yes, because the capitalist class's profits, your wife is dying. Kohlberg surveyed 72 Chicago boys aged 10 to 16. 5 of them were followed up on a 3-year interval for about 20 years to see if and how their answers changed. He noted that their answers changed with the progression of age. What he noted was that morality evolved through 3 stages. Each of the stages gave new reasoning behind their moral choices. He noted, however, that not everyone achieves all of the stages. Preconventional is the first level and the earliest manifestation of morality in a person. It usually lasts until about 8 years old. At this level, a child learns to obey authority and corresponding morality. The point of this level is for the child to avoid getting in trouble. Morality is given according to teachers and parents, telling the child what to do because they have no sense of morality. Morality is outside of the child. Reward and punishment determine if you see yourself as good or bad. In stage 1, obedience and punishment orientation. The child/individual is good to avoid being punished. If a person is punished, they must have done wrong. Stage 2, individualism and exchange. At this stage, children recognize that there is not just one right view handed down by authorities. Different individuals have different viewpoints. This level takes place around the age of adolescence. Here, morality is focused on societal norms and personal expectations, which dictate right from wrong. These are usually based on tradition, cultural practices, or established codes of conduct. Here, a person has taken the moral demands of society as internalized, but not questioned. A person gives a reason why they must follow the internalized societal expectations. On this level, people simply follow the rules to maintain order and prevent problems. Stage 3, good interpersonal relationships. The child individual is good to be seen as being a good person by others. Therefore, answers relate to the approval of others. Stage 4, law and order morality. The child/individual becomes aware of the wider rules of society, so judgments concerning obeying the rules to uphold the law and avoid guilt. The third level is the final level of moral development. Here, a person makes moral decisions based on their own ideas of what morality should be, as opposed to what is given to them by authority or social convention. They've decided for themselves, not merely obeyed. When they consider a moral dilemma, they consider what the moral thing to do is according to their moral principles. Generally, they try to understand how their actions affect others, make good decisions for everyone, not just themselves. Here, moral values can become abstract. 5. Social contract and individual rights. The child/individual becomes aware that while rules and laws might exist for the good of the greatest number, there are times when they will work against the interest of particular individuals. The issues are not always clear-cut. For example, in Heinz's dilemma, the protection of life is more important than breaking the law against stealing. Stage 6. Universal principles. People at this stage have developed their own set of moral guidelines which may or may not fit the law. The principles apply to everyone. For example, human rights, justice, and equality. The person will be prepared to act to defend these principles, even if it means going against the rest of society in the process and having to pay the consequences of disapproval and/or imprisonment. At the final level, Kohlberg believed only 15 to 20% of people reach it. In his view, growth in morality was often stunted at a particular level for some reason or another, which he didn't give. It should also be noted that there are several flaws in his work. The dilemmas are artificial, i.e. they lack an ecological validation. Kohlberg's subjects were between the ages of 10 and 16. They have never been married and have never been placed in a situation even remotely close to the one in the story. The sample is clearly biased. They were done with the upper-class white males, which ignored class and gender differences. The dilemmas are also hypothetical, not being faced with in real life, only on an abstract mental image. This leaves us with several questions about this whole process and morality. Are there distinct stages of moral development? Does moral judgment match moral behavior? Is justice the most fundamental moral principle? And do people make rational moral decisions? These were the questions left unanswered by Kohlberg's work. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.